Hey everybody, so glad you could make it today. Today we are going to sew what is called the Eira. The Eira is an adventurous beginner wallet. It has 2 cash pockets and yes, full cash. No folding cash today everybody. We are putting full dollar bills in there. I say dollar because I might have used the big bills to buy fabric from K&A. We have 1 ID pocket, 3 credit card slots, and a change purse. It can be snap, it can be cam snap, plastic snap, or magnetic closure, entirely up to you. When it is closed, it is about 4 inches tall, 7.5 inches wide. When it is fully opened, it's about 9.5 inches. This is a fantastic blank canvas, and I am so excited to see everything that Kim and Alex come out for. The Eira has a special meaning to me, and I hope it has a special meaning to you as you walk with me and sew with me through this tutorial. For the Eira, we are going to need some pretty basic tools. We're going to need a marking tool, like a pencil. I'd also recommend a marker. You're going to want something very sharp like an X-Acto knife, some kind of measuring tools, simple rulers. If you have a card doodad, card slot template, I would recommend it for this. I will be using some 1/8 inch double-sided tape. You're going to need 1 zipper, 1 set of snaps or a magnet, depending on what you would like. You're going to need 1 6.5 inch zipper. And then you're going to need your zipper tab, your clear window, which I'm not going to be able to see on that. You're going to need 2 zipper pocket linings, your ID card window, your right exterior with matching lining, your left exterior with matching lining, and then your exterior main and its matching lining. So when you're cutting your linings, I do want to remind you to use your exterior templates. They will be just a smidge smaller when these print in the final form than the lining, so that'll give you a nice, pretty, crisp lining. So make sure that you're using your exteriors as your templates for the main lining and your left and right exterior liners. So the other thing that you are going to need is your card lining, which is roughly 3.5 inches by 14-15 inches, depending on what you would like to work with. I would go ahead and find your centers for your zipper pocket and set those to the side for right now. Additionally, for your zipper, I would go ahead and thread your zipper on. Now the direction that your zipper is going, you're going to want to separate that. And you're going to want to fold that about 1/2 inch down where you're getting a nice folded corner. It looks like that. Now you can sew this, you can burn this, you can pin it down, but you're going to want it to where that stays down. And you're going to want to do that on both sides. It does come to about 1/2 inch where that fold needs to come down. So I would recommend going ahead and doing that. So I have mine burnt and melted over. What we are going to do is then take our zipper tab and you're going to fold it, put it face down at the end here, and use some clips to hold it in place. And then you are going to sew this at 1/4 inch, securing that down. So I'm going to go ahead and go do that real fast. After you get that stitch down, you're going to pull it over and then fold it under. Now there should be just enough here that when you top stitch this, you are going to catch not only the top but also this bottom flap. That's the idea here. You want to be able to top stitch this so you're getting both the top and the bottom flap. So I'm going to go ahead and top stitch that down, and then we'll be done with the zipper for the moment. Alright, sort of kind of lied. Once you get this sewn down, you're going to go ahead and fold the whole zipper in half, like so, and then using a marker or a marking tool, what have you, you're going to find the center of that. I'm going to go back and do that again. Okay, so I got that marked. So we can put those to the side for now. For your exterior mane and the lining, we are not going to make any snips. What I would recommend is that you take it and you fold it hot dog style, like this, and you find the center on the short end there. And now you can set those to the side. We've got our ID window, that's ready to go. For our right exterior, we're going to flip this over, and we're going to go ahead and make our first mark. You're going to want to fold it in half. Like this, I think this is hamburger style now. And then you're going to want to find the center this way. And then once you find the center that way, from that edge on that center line, you're going to measure up 3/4 of an inch, and you're going to make a mark. Honestly, could not do that again if I tried. Yeah, could not do that again if I tried. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch this out. Let me get a different one because I don't like how that looks. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this while we have it. So please excuse the noise. So I get this all nice and set. You're going to take your flat edge and line it up against your flat edge. And you're going to clip that. This is probably the easiest one of the whole shenagle here. And you can just set that to the side for right now. This is the one where we're going to do everything to. So you're going to flip it over. And you can decide where you want to do all your measurements. That's entirely up to you. So the first measurement I'm going to do is I am going to make a general, first I'm going to make a general line that puts me at 0.75 all the way down. Okay, this is pretty much where everything is going to start for this side of the wallet. And then on, let's see how I want it. So just choose which end you want to go with. It doesn't really matter which. You are going to measure in 1/2 inch. I'm pretty sure we're going to go 1/2 inch. I don't want to fuck this up. on the side. All right, so after we have drawn our line, we are going to go in on our side 3/4 of an inch. I may have to get a bigger ruler here in just a second. Going from the top, so we've already drawn a 3/4 of an inch line. I am going to go down and measure an inch. And I'm going to draw, oops. I'm going to draw an inch down. So from here, you should have a 0.75 and a 1 inch line. I'm going to rotate that, get a slightly different ruler. Oh, maybe I can see here. And then from the edge, you're going to measure over 2.5 inches. And then this, from this line, you are going to measure 2.75 inches. And then you just connect those two lines that you made. So from here to here is 2.75 inches. And this whole box will be cut out. But don't cut it yet. Do not cut yet. We've got some more marks to make. The next thing I would recommend you doing is finding your halfway mark here. So that is roughly it's about okay, so the next thing we need to do is we are going to put our ruler to the side. So we have this 0.75 inch line. We are going to line our ruler up and we are going to make a mark 1/4 of an inch away on this 7.5 line, 1/4 of an inch away from this box. Okay, and then we're going to rotate it again, do the exact same thing on the 0.75 inch line, not the 1 inch, the 0.75 inch line. So that gives us this cut line. So now you have, I'll just draw it in Sharpie. You have now officially measured out this window and this cut line. So that's where we are at this moment. Now this window, let's just go back and double check, should measure 1.75 and then it should measure 2.75, and it does. So that is great. Now over here, you are going to measure in 3/8 of an inch and draw a line. Okay. And then we are going to set my ruler up. So you've already got the first line at 75 inches. What we need to do is from this line that we drew at 3/8, we're going to set our 3.5 inch line and we're going to make a mark because this now becomes a credit card slot. I can draw a straight line. From this line, you're going to measure down 1/2 inch, keeping yourself lined up with this 3/8 line, and you're going to draw another 3.5 inch line. Measure down another 1/2 inch, another 3.5 inch line. Make sure that those are all 3.5 inches. Okay. Now at this point, you are absolutely free to cut. I am going to cut this window out first, and then I'm going to cut this line. All right, got your 3 lines. That looks awesome. I'm going to start breaking out the 1/4 inch tape. I'm sorry, I lied, the 1/8 inch tape. So you guys might be familiar with doing card slots. I don't do mine any different. I'm going to be placing 1/8 inch tape underneath of it, but I'm just going to get that there as prep work. And then I'm going to put a strip up here at the top. And then I'm going to place a strip right here along the side of the window hole. And then I'm going to pull that tape off. Or I'm sorry, the paper off the tape. And now let's see if I can figure out where my window went. We're going to slide our window on. All right, so we're going to go to the machine and we're going to sew 2 things. The first thing we're going to do is, leaving my threads long so I can pull them to the back, I'm going to sew this window on at 1/8 inch around this hole. I'm going to tie that off, and then I'm going to at 1/8 inch sew a line underneath this card slot. So that'll take care of this little piece here, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to sew this together at 1/4 inch, going all the way down, back stitching really good at the beginning and end. Then I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to top stitch it, and this will be done until we are almost done with the wallet. So let's go on and go to the machine. Go ahead and stitch this down on 1/4 inch. All right, then I'm going to flip this over, press, and then fold it. And what I want to do is I want to line up my lining edges with my exterior edges, and then I'm going to clip and do the same thing with the other side. And now I can top stitch this side of the wallet all the way down. I'm going to do an 1/8 inch top stitch. You're welcome to do whichever you would feel comfortable with. So now we are done with this side for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and set it in a pile just not to look at for a minute. Pushing through. And now I'm going to sew at 1/8 inch this window all the way around. Now I'm going to tie my threads off. All right, then I'm going to do my top stitch underneath my line there. All right, so let's go back to the table so we can work on the next part. For this next part, you're going to want to put a little bit of double-sided tape on just the long edges of the ID window. But before we stick that, fold this in half. Find your center. And then from that line, you're going to measure up 0.75 and make a mark. I'm going to go ahead and hole punch it, but I will not set anything yet. I'm just going to go ahead and just get the hole punch out of the way. Now I'm going to pull the paper off the tape. Now, I'm going to do it this way so I can line it up like that. Perfect. And now I am going to go, and I'm going from the 1/8 inch line that I sewed, I'm going to sew 1/4 inch all the way around that line from that 1/8 inch line, so an additional 1/4 inch out. And then that line is going to go up above that slit 1/4 inch, go over, and then connect with that 1/4 inch down. So if I can find my silver pen, I will draw a handy dandy little line. So like from my slit there, it'll go up 1/4 inch above that slit that we made, and then it'll go around the whole box, and that will secure the ID window, and you'll be able to stick your cards in there. So I am going to go on to the machine and do that, but I'm also going to take my card slot material with me, and I'm also going to take my ID with, or my card template with me. Just like we did before, I'm going to pull my threads long. I am starting at 1/4 inch outside of my 1/8 inch line, and I'm just going to sew around. I'm going to cut my threads, pull my threads through, and tie them off. All right, so starting with our card slots, I'm going to pull this bottom one off, set it to the side. And then I am going to line this up with, so I like to, when I cut my material, I like to make sure that there's at least like one good straight side so I can line it up with my 3/8 line that we drew there, because it's so pretty when you do it that way. And it keeps us straight, mostly, to some degree. And then I am going to sew this down. I'm going to sew the bottom one down. So it's going to be 1/8 inch under that line. Pull my threads long. Then I just tie them off. Okay, I'm going to pull that down. Give that a good crease. I'm going to pull the next row of tape off. I'm going to slide my handy dandy template in to the line on there. Give that a good solid hold in place. And then I'm going to pull this up. All right, double check myself. Looks good. Pull my template out. Make sure my threads are long, which they are not. pull them to the back, and now I'm going to sew the second slit that we made. Finally, you can pull this down, give us a nice press, and this now is why I placed the last bit of tape up here, and put my card in. Fold it up and press. Now you are able to cut that excess off. All right. So that is 60% done. So then you want to grab its matching highlight. Now we're going to go to the table and set that. We need to go set that, and then we can clip our lining to it. So let's go put our other snap part in, and then we'll be able to move on. Now again, if you are not a fan of, these snaps or even plastic snaps, you are more than welcome to use magnetic snaps. The upward measurements would stay the same. And then you are welcome to check this by using your already set magnet, and you want to make sure that that catches, looks good, and we can move on. Take your lining, put it face down. This is why I wasn't so worried about that, because I knew it was going to be sewn and it was going to get caught and be held in place. All right. All right, and now I'm going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch, back stitching at the beginning and the end. Let's do it. To flatten this out, and then give us a really nice solid press going all the way down. Because you do want those to line up really nicely, just like you did on the other side. And then I'm going to top stitch that at 1/8 of an inch. And then for now, we can set this piece to the side. So now we're going to do something a little weird, but it's going to make sense in the end. What we need to do is we're going to take some double-sided tape and we are going to put it along this edge right here. You don't want to go too far, just this edge, this flat edge, and we're going to take that off. And then you're going to just line your right exterior up with that and give that a good solid press down. If you're worried about seeing these threads, what you can do, being that it's waterproof canvas, one more time for our sound effect. All right, I'm done now. So, and you can do that. All right, now we need our zipper. Okay, so these are the pieces that you need. And It's going to make sense, I promise. We are going to put double-sided tape along the edges of the zipper on all 4 sides. All right. Now, so this is how the wallet would sit. All right. So it would close like this, which means that you want your zipper to go that way so nothing would ever spill out, right? So we are going to open our zipper. I'm going to pull off my zipper tape. Stay with me, guys, I'm not crazy. And then I'm going to flip this over. Remember that? That's important. You are going to line this up with your center marking and you're going to press. Now, where this falls, completely up to you, but I don't like to put it too far under. Maybe like a standard zipper. Have it sticking out like you did a 1/4 inch stitch. Looks nice there. And then I'm going to pull the back tape off. And then I'm going to take one of my zipper linings, the side that's got the center mark on it, put it face down, lined up with the center. And this is how it should look when you flip it over. So as you can see, let's measure that. How far do I have that zipper? That is a 1/4 inch. Man, I am good freehanding this stuff. So my zipper is about a 1/4 inch out. I've got my zipper pocket right side to the wrong side of the zipper facing away. Now, what we are going to do, now this is like the most important part to make this work. I cannot stress this enough. We are only going to sew from here, back stitching really good, all the way down to the zipper tab, back stitching really good. That's all we are going to sew there. And then we're going to come back. I am stitching at 1/8 of an inch, just like you would for a top stitch. Just gonna back stitch a little bit. And again, I am just stitching where that zipper and that zipper tape, I'm sorry, that zipper tab are going to fall. Just keep your zipper out of the way. And back stitch. And pull up. Cut off your threads. Cut off your threads. All right, so this is where we're at. And now we're going to go back to the table. What we're going to do here is now I am just going to fold this under, and that's it. I'm not going to do anything more to that. I'm just going to fold it over. When we sew this all together, it's going to be fine. You're not going to worry about top stitching that. So we're just going to flip this up. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this side. This zipper, you're going to do the exact same thing, except the zipper, when you line up the, I lied. I should have taken that tape off. It's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay. So your wallet would be like this. Okay, so remember we found our center here. I'm going to do the exact same thing where I line up my center of my tape. And you want that to be about 1/4 of an inch. I'm a little too low. It's just some eye work, some eyeing here. And then while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and stick my zipper panel. It's going to face the opposite direction. I'm going to take this to the machine and I'm going to start here, back stitching really good, and I'm only going to sew to the zipper tab, back stitching really good. And that's all I am going to sew. Still staying at 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to back stitch really good, go down this, just take your time. I will put my needle down, raise my foot, just so I can make sure this is out of the way and not going to be bothersome. Back stitching and pulling it up. So far, perfect. Exactly the way it is supposed to go. All right. Now's the part everybody's going to be like, Nefarious, are we for real? Yes. Yes, I am. So now we have to sew our zipper pockets together. And you're probably thinking, what? Yeah. But it's not terrible, because you don't have to sew the whole like thing together, because when this is sewed together, there's nothing that's going to get out here. So really, you're just sewing from here all the way here down to here. I'm going to get some clips real quick. You're really just trying to keep it from going into the guts of the wallet, which I guess if you wanted not to do that, you could, but I don't know why you would. So I'm going to be starting in this vicinity, going around, going down, and coming back. And they're going to be about the same where I start and finish. You do want to back stitch really good at the beginning and the end. And you do want to make... Okay, going to trim this off. And then let's go back to the table. So believe it or not, you're actually in the finishing touches of this wallet. It's crazy, I know. So what we're going to do is you're going to flip this around, pull the zipper panel down, and then you're going to, it might be easier to just... Alright, so I am going to open this up, and as you can see, we got a nice pocket going on. I'm going to pull this down so that I can line my corners up. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull the panel down, and as you can see, it's pulling that zipper tab down nice and pretty so that we can line those corners up. Then you can zip it up if you so choose. Press it, because now we need to clip it together like this. And then you take your other one and you match up your corners. Come on, Harriet. I really just broke that. Now, we match up those corners and those corners. And now we are going to take this to the machine and we are going to stitch this roughly 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I will backstitch really good where these pockets meet the main exterior. So I'll backstitch really good here, backstitch really good here, and here, and here. Where I will start and stop is very important. This is probably the most important part of making this whole wallet. Okay, so I'm going to set my needle in the hole where we put our last double stitch right here for sewing the zipper together. And then I will go around away from the zipper, do all my sewing around this way, and then I will stop in the hole over here for the double stitch for the zipper so we don't sew our pocket closed. That is the most important thing I can tell you. You can sew it with the top up or the bottom up. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're comfortable with. Some people don't like these down on their machine, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to try to sew with this up today and see what happens, because I don't think I've tried it yet. So let's find out. Reminding you, I am going to stick my needle right here in the double stitch. This is also the thickest part of the whole wallet, so of course that's where Nefarious is going to stick something, right? I'll do a little bit of a back stitch here, but just over the tab, nothing else. Okay, and then I'm going to take my time going around the curves, rotating as necessary. Right here. All right, this may be the hardest part because you're trying to go from a pretty low surface to a high surface. So if you have a hump jumper or, you know, patience of a saint, take it slow so you don't tear it up. You've gotten so far. This wallet is almost done. You've literally got like 1 inch left. So just take your time. All right, now I'm going to go cut all these threads off. So after you get the threads cleaned up, you might have a little bit of overhang from the WPC. You can go ahead and cut that off. But there you go. There's the Eira. I want to thank you for sewing along with me today as we made the Eira wallet. The Eira is a great adventurous wallet, and there are so many amazing designs that Kim and Alex are going to be able to do with it. It is a blank canvas. I have gotten to sneak peek 2 of them, and chef's kiss, everybody. It will be an amazing addition to your wallet collection. In fact, as you are making and posting in the wild, make sure you're tagging K&A Custom Fabrics and your girl Nefarious, because we want to see all of your makes. If you like what you see and what you go through and experience in these videos, make sure you're liking and subscribing below. So for now, ta-ta, and I'll see you around.